Need another, this one here really do it for you.
Baby, you need a fucking yeah, baby, I'm on the phone. Baby, come down to the phone. Let me show you how to play.
Y'all about my big bro Gerod in the podcast crew.
Can you hear us, Gregory? You good? Y'all think Gregory having a little technical difficulty, but we're gonna push through without him. Welcome, ladies. Welcome, Facebook and YouTube land. Welcome to another episode of the Floor is Yours podcast. We got my man, my trusty man, Gregory. He's trusty, but sometimes the equipment is not. But we're gonna push through this anyway. Gregory, you good? He is not. So
he ain't good. See, that's what you're talking about, me behind the scenes.
Hey, but we're gonna be all right. We're gonna push through. So this is gonna be a great show. So y'all know what to do out there in Facebook land. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't. And it's very important that you share the show with people that you know. Let them know, even if they're not on YouTube. I'm sorry, if they're not on Facebook, we're on YouTube. Make sure they go and find us on YouTube as well. But we got some wonderful guests here. I've had them all, them both here before. So I'm going to give them both a moment to introduce themselves and tell us what brings them to the show. Carleeka, you want to go first?
I mean, sure. You call my name. I'm gonna just go ahead on. You know. So, hello everyone. Welcome and happy Thursday, Gerard. Like always, thank you for giving us an opportunity on the Floor is Yours podcast to talk about anything, right? Anything that's worth talking about, you guys. You know, positive, controversial topics. But I'm your girl, Carleeka Basnight-Menendez. Yes. All of that, and I am your only and your favorite menopause consultant and wellness expert. And so tonight we're going to be diving into a book project that we are a part of. You still have time, less than 24 hours to go ahead and pre-order as well. But if you don't pre-order, look, the book is dropping December 17th. And so you want to grab a copy. That's a good gift for someone. I've been hard on tangible things versus intangible things, right? And so many people focus on the tangible, but let's start focusing on some of those intangible things. Like you cannot go buy peace out of Walmart. Okay. Black Friday is over and you still can't buy it and you still broke it, but we're going to talk about that in the book. And so that's just a little bit right there.
Go ahead and kill that myth about retail shopping. It might give you a momentary high, but hey, you're going to have to face the music sooner. But Tina, welcome again. It is a pleasure, as always, to have you on. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please, and tell the people why you're here.
Well, Gerard, again, thank you for having us on the show. And everyone, hi out there. I am Tina F. Foy. I'm a talk show host and self-care advocate for busy moms. And like Carleeka said, she pretty much gave you the rundown about what the book is about. But all the ladies have amazing stories to tell, and we're excited to share with you guys.
Yeah. So it's going to be a great opportunity to talk about what we've long known. That the title of the book, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the title of the book is Black Women Are Not Strong, We Are Resilient. Is that correct?
It is. Yes. Black women aren't strong, we're resilient. Correct.
We're resilient. And for me, when I first saw the title, I was thinking like they could be used interchangeably, but the more I thought about it, they are not. So how about we start there? Like, what's the difference in being strong and being resilient from your perspective? Either one, you can start off.
Well, for me, a long time, even I guess from grandmothers, great-grandmothers, we were always told, hey, you're strong, you can do this, whether you're having to work extra jobs, whether you're having to work and take care of the kids, build stuff, just holding all the hats, being provider, being therapist, being nurse, being doctor, being taxi cab driver, being cook, secretary, the list goes on and on and on. As a Black woman, and we've always been told, hey, you're strong. If you do this, it's make you strong. It makes you better. But no one ever asked, what makes us actually resilient, why we don't break down, why we're not having mental breakdowns, or why no one sees that on the forefront. People call it as strong. It's not that we're strong, because we need a hand, we need help, we need reassurance like everyone else. We just have to be resilient because we have ourselves. We have to provide for our families. We have to make sure we take care of ourselves.
I like that. I like that. Carleeka, sounds like to me like people can see you as strong, but maybe resilient is something that's within. Is that a correct characterization of that? What do you think?
I definitely will agree on that. So a lot of times, like you said, everyone have their own definition of what's strong, right? What characterizes a real man, a real woman, a strong woman. And a lot of times the perspective is so tainted with what's strong. And so we hear the cliche of, hey, check on your strong friends. But even in those moments of feeling strong, you have moments where you're not strong, right? You're having a moment where, look, I don't feel like I can make it, but then resiliency kicks in, and that has nothing to do with. And sometimes let me back up. When we even think of the word strong, a lot of people automatically think physically, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I have muscles, I have this, I can bench press this, and sometimes the people that can even bench press the most, they're the weakest link, right? Because once again, those intangible things such as resiliency. You can go buy some weights, you can go get some cosmetic surgery, you can do all of these things. But when we think of resiliency, I'm thinking of in those moments where I don't feel like pushing through, when I don't feel like praying, when I don't feel like walking in faith, when I don't feel like walking in love to the person that did me wrong and lied on whatever happened, then resiliency kicks in, and it's almost like a shock wave in your body, right? So when we think of biology, you're talking about the neurons, and we're talking about flight or fight, but that resiliency kicks in to say, you know what, I need to keep going. I have to keep going. I want to give up, but I don't want to give up. I could give up, but I'm not going to give up. And so I think when we really get a different perspective of strong and resiliency, and then recognizing that I don't always have to show up strong, right? What does that really look like? Thinning hair, stress, extra belly fat, because my stress levels and cortisol levels are high. So I don't always have to be strong, but if I keep pushing through with my faith and with the right support system, then I can have the resiliency to overcome any challenge.
I like that. I like the way both of you explained that. It sounds also like being strong can be a double-edged sword. Like in some aspects, you need to be strong, but could people unfairly and unnecessarily put burdens on you that you shouldn't be made to carry?
Absolutely. We do it to ourselves every single day.
Yes.
Okay. So talk about that. What do you mean?
These expectations and the pressure that we put on ourselves to perform.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right? We hear I'm an overachiever, as if you deserve an award for being an overachiever. Why don't you just do what you was there to do and be on about your business, right? And so I think a lot of times we put added pressure on ourselves. We have pressure from legacy and family, right? You got pressure from like, oh, well, your granddaddy was this and your grandma was this, and now it's like, and you should. But no, maybe that ain't what I should be doing. So we have this pressure from society, from family, from ourselves. And so when we really remove the stigma of being strong, I'm strong even when I'm crying, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're weak when you just hold stuff in and you got to wait for a whole blow up to happen. That's weak to me.
Right.
Yeah.
You're strong when you're being vulnerable to the right people, right? But you're weak to me when you don't know how to communicate effectively and show that vulnerable side.
Yeah. Alan, that's good. That's good. Tina, I know sometimes being vulnerable can be, people can take advantage of it, you know, or when you're transparent and honest and take the place of employment and you're telling your boss like, hey, my plate is too full. Can you take some of this off for me? I mean, but that could come with some negative consequences too, right? You being
very
honest,
much true.
At the same time, so talk about that if you don't mind.
So, where do I begin? It is one of those things that if you show a sign of weakness, it's, oh no, it's the end of the world. That's how some people make it seem. Like if a Black woman is not strong, if she's not holding with the weight and carrying this and doing that and trying to be perfect and keeping herself together and trying to look good and still smile even though she's hurting on the inside, it's a problem. It's a sign of weakness. Like Carleeka said, it's not. It's actually you being human and saying, hey, I can't carry all this. I need help. I need support. I can't do this. I'm not a one-man army.
Yeah. That's
and
heavy.
Sometimes it can be weaponized against you.
Yeah.
If you're not careful.
And I like that you said weaponized, Carleeka. I've seen people even can potentially move on from the person who's being transparent and telling them like, hey, take some of this burden. Because it's people that are ready to move in those positions, right? So how do you balance that? Like, you got a job that pays you well, some financial security, but they're weighing you down, but they're ready to replace you if you push back.
I mean, I think sometimes in any moment, you got to stand up for yourself. Okay. I don't care if it's your spouse, your children, your employer, whomever, your family members, you have to stand up for yourself because the real reality of it is, even in the workplace,
it ain't playing.
You get burned out. Okay. And you're no longer like you 6 feet under. What they're gonna do? Send a card to your family? They're gonna allow a couple of employees to come to your service, and you did all of that with no stock in the company. You did all of that with knowing that your name was never gonna be, you wasn't even gonna get your Christmas bonus. So you did all of that. I love to say, don't love yourself to death, right? And so a lot of times, even in doing good things, love yourself to health, that I'm going to stand up for myself. And even if it take me a little longer to get something done with the pressures of productivity, performance, and all of these things, but if you don't advocate for yourself, who else going to do it? Now, when we think of those biblical principles, the word of God says, you know what, cast all your burdens down. So some of the things that we are carrying, they're not even ours, right?
Wow.
We picking up other tasks and we're picking up other things from other people. And I was listening to a book the other day and it says sometimes you have to let people fail. And even if you don't want to use the word fail, let people learn their lesson. Okay, because I had to find out, and I realized this year it was real personal for me, right? Let me make sure that I'm good. Because as women, we have, and men, we're going to make sure people around us are good. And in those situations or challenges that you have, did you assess and say, hey, am I good with what just happened or what I just endured, even after that resiliency kicked in, right? But am I good mentally, physically, spiritually? And I just feel like when you really take the word as simplistic as it can be, why am I walking around burdened and weighted when I don't have to? And then why am I picking up other people's baggage and then adding it to the things that I'm already working on? Like that sounds Lulu, don't it?
It does. One thing that I learned about resiliency is just not in the moment, right? Being resilient is also a buildup for what could be. Like you're building a buffer, some cushion. And I'm thinking about the scenario that we were talking about, like employment. Like if you're making yourself more marketable, if this particular job don't work out for you, you want to be held slave to it, for lack of a better word, right? If you are marketable, more valuable out there in some other places, then you can make that decision. But I could see like if, whatever some of them are characteristics, age or limited education, right? It can make people say like, I have no choice but to take it. But again, resiliency can be also increasing my value, and growing in value so I can, potentially put myself in other spaces. Would y'all agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And don't be scared. Like a lot of people get stuck out of fear. Like you can revamp your resume, right? Get chat to create you the bomb resume. That's not a lie that you can actually do the work. I'm just saying, use the tools that you have available or hire someone that does resume, that can revamp your resume or whatever. So I think a lot of times we get stuck in relationships, we get stuck in marriages, we get stuck in things, one, because we weren't taught how to create boundaries and stick to those boundaries, right? And pivot when you need to. And then just moving, how do you continuously keep moving forward, even in this journey of life?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And for the audience, we're talking about the upcoming book that they're getting ready to release here soon. It's called, correct me if I jack it up again, but how about I just ask one of y'all to tell us the title again? Tina?
Black women aren't strong. We're resilient.
Yeah, we're not
Say
strong.
Repeat it after her, Gerod.
Hey, I'm gonna paraphrase it. Y'all are not strong. You're resilient. And I like the title because, again, it gives people something to think about. And I'm thinking about one of the things, Tina, you had some challenges yourself. You have and forgive me for not being able to articulate it the right way if I don't use the right thing, but you have a special needs child, right?
I do.
And it brings me to the mindset, like, we can plan our life all we want, but it don't always come out the way that we plan it. And I'm thinking about what your situation and how you need to be maybe strong in some instances, maybe resilient. I don't know. Can you talk about that?
Both.
Both. Okay.
But it's not really being strong. It's literally being resilient in the aspect of not giving up. My son is autistic, and the process, which I tell about in the book, which is chapter "The Day My Strength Broke," and that's the best title I could give to it, because I went from being invincible, I can do whatever, I know what, I can pivot, I can change, and this was the one thing that I couldn't pivot, I couldn't change. I just had to figure out how I'm going to process everything. And I was blessed enough with my husband to support and go through and do our research, but it's between a lot of, without giving too much, a lot of self-blaming and processing and a lot of conversation with God for most. It is a resilience. A lot of people, and speaking to other moms in the same situation, give up.
Yeah.
Because they hold that guilt in, or they try to play strong on the outside, and it literally makes them explode.
Wow. That's good. That's good. And we got comments. We're going to get to them, but I like the title. It's pretty intriguing. Your chapter says "The Day My Strength Broke." Is that pointing to a specific day? I don't want to give too much of the book, but
it is. It literally is.
Okay. That's good. And Carleeka, yours too. I like yours says "From Hell to Harvest." So you're also a co-author in the book, and that was your chapter. So talk a little bit about it, if you don't mind.
So "From Hell to Harvest" is just saying, once again, not putting on a mask, not putting on a cape, right? And not just putting on, right? Not just putting on, I put on for my city. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Okay. Pray for me, y'all. Okay, so I'm back. Oh, see, and he ain't no, y'all understand. So "From Hell to Harvest." See, I just be myself. From hell to harvest, during a season of my life, it felt like every angle, every side of my life was being touched, right? And that may be someone, even though we're in the holiday season now, there may be someone listening tonight and you're like, yes, I feel like I am in what the hell I'm like I'm in hell, right? And so health, right? Health, marriage, work, every aspect of my life felt like it was being touched. But I stayed the course. Yes, I cried. Yes, I had some very frustrating days, but I did not lose faith, right? And I have a community of people that even in those moments when I felt like I was weak, they were there to pray for me and to keep pushing me. And did I have moments where I'm just like, man, bruh, sis, like, what's up? Like, Jesus, do you hear me? Jesus on the main line? Like, is this number right?
Is this number right?
Right? And tears streaming down my face. But I look at, even at times, those tears were watering. Hey, Jason, how are you? Those tears were watering. And when you stayed the course, right? Taking your eyes and shifting off of the problems and situations that, you know what, this is, God, I give it to you. I remember one day crying. I said, God, you know, I just give all of this to you. And I released it. And from there, it's just like a new perspective, a new light. And though some things were not changing in my timing, okay? Because you know how we do.
Yeah.
Like,
We want what we want when we want it, right?
that part.
Yeah.
Like, who wants something to eat like right now? Okay, but we on this podcast. So but from hail to harvest. So just to encourage someone that no matter what you may be facing right now in this moment, there's a harvest. There are seeds that were planted years ago, moments ago, that's going to water and sprout up, and you will come into your harvest season as well. But you got to be made, you got to be molded, you got to be tried by fire, you got to be purified, you got to be refined. You know, I ain't going to preach to y'all tonight. That's all I got, bro.
Hey, ain't nobody trying to do all that though, right? No, ain't nobody trying to go through the fire. So, or sometimes we normalize the fire. How about that? Like, so, and I talked to y'all about that before the show. I've talked to a number of people, men and women, where sometimes we was like, you know what, this is it. This is the hand I've been dealt, the cards I've been dealt. Let me just make the best of it. And you know, y'all are both people of faith. And you know, we were talking about joke, but I was joking, but kind of serious when I said sometimes I wish I was rich instead of good looking. And Carleeka, you said I want them both, right? Because we serve a God.
I didn't say I want both. I said I am both.
You are both. We serve a God of abundance, so you don't got to pick. So I'm just thinking about how important faith is in those moments when you know what God promised. But you know, we say that He might not come when you want Him, but He's on time. Like when you're at your wit's end, like how do you gather that strength? That, you know, maybe this is personal. I know that you can't tell everybody how to do it, but how did you, in your moments when you was like, you know what, I'm at my wit's end, but I got to be resilient and push through? Like, how does faith work in that?
One, it's not your own strength, right? Because it's times, anyone else out there, you can raise your hand, like you, or you can leave me in these streets by myself, because like it's all good. In those moments when we rely on our own strength, you find yourself more fatigued. You find yourself more frustrated. You find yourself more irritated. You find yourself having more emotions than enough in a day. And it's just like, no, you have to release in order to receive. And a lot of us want to receive, but we don't want to release anything. Like, you want more clothes, you want more tangible things, but you don't want to work on the intangible things. You want more peace, but you don't even walk in peace internally or externally with other people. You won't take the initiative. So Gerod, you said faith, but we got to do the work as well, right? That work is staying in prayer. That work is going to therapy. That work is analyzing yourself to say, okay, self, like, what's up with you? And analyzing, okay, what trauma, what baggage am I holding on to? So in those moments, you got to release something in order to receive. And a lot of us don't want to be broken enough and naked enough to even be honest enough to say, you know what, I need to let this go. That habit is not serving me anymore. It's hurting me. It's hurting my family. It's hurting generation. It's a cycle. It's a pattern. So now it's not even a season. You made it a lifestyle.
A lifestyle. You know, you both, again, women of faith. And I'm sure there was a time where you weren't as strong. So, and you maybe normalize some dysfunctions, you know, some bad behaviors. Like, Tina, how do you unlearn those bad behaviors and know that there is something better out there for you?
Mm-hmm. Oh, it is a process.
Yeah,
it is.
Sure.
And I'll give an example. And some people may not think this is a bad behavior. Let me fix my earpiece for this one and straighten myself up real quick.
Say it with your chest, Tina.
Being empathetic. And I don't mean not feeling, but I mean taking on everybody's sadness, everybody's pain, everybody's guilt, even if it's not your guilt, and holding it in. And that you dealing with your own situation and trying to be strong, you're listening to everybody's problems, but at the end of the day, you explode. And it's not because of your own problems. It's not because of something that you've been through. It's because you're taking in everything around you, whether it be friends, co-workers, strangers, family members. You take it all in and you explode. And like I said, some people don't see it as a negative trait. I didn't at first. But after a while of being burnt out, always sick, always crying, and you can't figure out why you're crying, you're always mad, you can't figure out why you could have the best day ever. But in the midst of your best day, you've had several horrible stories from everyone around you, and they're dealing with this, and you're crying for them, or you're mad for them, and you're lashing out, even though it has nothing to do with you. And I went through that personally, and I had to tell myself, hey, you're always sick. You're not because it's not because you're touching or you're catching whatever's going around. It's because you're internally taking in everybody else's problems. So I have learned through a process, trial and error, a lot of prayer, a lot of crying, a lot of questioning myself. Am I a bad person? Does this make me a bad person? And it doesn't. It's the fact that you have to learn to empathize without taking in their energy, without taking in their experiences. You can understand and try to help and provide solutions without literally taking it in your soul, because it wears on you. It wears you down. It breaks you.
Yeah. You know, Carleeka, that's literally the example of assist. But to her point, sometimes we end up taking on most and sometimes all of what people got going on, and you're limited in what you have to give. So can you feel what she's saying?
Absolutely. I even think of people who have trauma, right? Like some of us have received the impact of someone else's trauma, and you're not mad at the people who did what they did to you. So then it feels like you're almost paying, like you're trying to make someone else pay for something that they didn't even have anything. I mean, they might not even have known you when whatever happened to you as a little boy or a little girl, and now you're a full grown man. Didn't say real man, I said a grown man, right? Or a grown woman. And you're still internalizing it. And so I love what Tina said, even though I can empathize with you, baby, I have to ask in the conversations, are you just venting to me, or are you wanting to see how we can work through an idea of a solution? Right. Yeah. And so I limit conversations, because what you notice is typically the same people with the same problems and the same conversations over and over again. Right. So at what point do you want to implement something different? And then you get some people, when you give them a suggestion, now you think you know it all. You think you Einstein and all of these different things, right? Yeah. But I've come to a place in my life, and like Tina said, it's a process. It's not a bippity boppity boop. It's not a magic potion. It's not a magic. It's not magic, right? You have to work at this journey every single day, even for the places that we have grown to. You're working every day not to revert back to old habits, because you did the older habits longer than you didn't started the new ones, right? And so that may be with your mouth, that may be with your mind, that's with your actions, that's with everything. So I can empathize for you. But like they say, prayer don't have no distance, right? So I don't even have to occupy the same space with you to pray with you.
I love it. You know, I tell people all the time, even the best of us, we got limitations, right? No matter how many degrees or how many times I bounce back, you know, whatever, I'm limited. So we got to be careful. I know we had a gentleman, Pastor Keener, before, and he says it's important to know your capacity. So that you're not taking on too much. So let's get to some of these comments, and then we're going to go to a commercial break. So this is one of my favorite parts of the show, where we acknowledge our guests. Dr. Jennings, man, I love seeing her in the comments. I love seeing her on the show. She says hello. Darkisa is also saying hello. Heather was on earlier. Well, she's probably still on, but one of the comments we were talking about, she's saying that was good. our good friend that we all know, Tamika, who's helping us put all this together.
Hey, girl.
Yeah. And so here's one. I want to take a moment to let you both respond to Heather's comment. She said boundaries are everything. So as you're learning to be resilient and shed that whole idea of being strong, how important are boundaries? And not just any boundaries. I like to put a caveat or an adjective on there and say healthy boundaries. How important are healthy boundaries in building your resiliency?
Well, one, I would say back in the day, like your girl ain't had no boundaries, okay? Not no real ones per se, right? And I'm talking about boundaries even when it comes to those closest to you. You need boundaries in the workplace. You need boundaries with your kids. You need boundaries with your spouse, boundaries with your mama, daddy, aunties, everybody, right? And you need those boundaries for yourself. And Gerard, I love what you said, healthy boundaries, because we're not talking about building up a wall. Yeah. Right. We're talking about creating those boundaries that really say you're so self-aware of what triggers you. You're so self-aware of, your atmosphere, of what causes you to be a little more irritable. And I know when I get a little irritated, your girl gonna have a hot flash. So I don't want that. So I got to keep the irritability at a minimum, right? But boundaries, Heather, I'm with you, girl. High five. They are everything. And once you don't become your own boundary breaker, and you stick to them, and sometimes with family, y'all, that is so hard.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're it's this line of, I'm not trying to teach you a lesson, but I gotta stick to my boundaries as well. And some people, when you start implementing those boundaries on a consistent basis, I'm not talking about implementing a boundary when you mad. Okay. Yeah. Like, now I got my boundary. Oh, okay, it'll be gone tomorrow. Right? But really sticking to it and changing them as you need to. It's healthier for you mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, on all of the levels where you can remove yourself from situations. You learn strategic silence, right? I'm not silent because I'm mad. I'm silent because I'm learning how to tame my tongue more and knowing that a soft word turneth away wrath. And because vengeance is mine, says the Lord, baby, I ain't got to do nothing.
Yeah. Wow, that's good. That's good. Tina, when I read a book, and it was talking about this guy when he came into revelation about boundaries. And then he realized that the boundary wasn't just his. When you understand what relationships is, you realize that boundary, in a sense, belongs to others as well. And so when you're developing a healthy relationship, he was talking about, like, you mutually learn how to establish those boundaries, and not just establish them, but maintain them as well. And they grow and they adjust together, and not just, this is my boundary for me only. If you're in a healthy relationship, partnership, whatever it is, should you consider others as well?
Yes, it is important. Boundaries in a healthy relationship works hand in hand with tone. So you can set your boundaries and you can have healthy boundaries, but if your tone isn't right, it can still kind of send a mixed message.
Yeah.
So your boundaries and your tones have to match, and as long as they coexist with each other, your boundaries are your best friend. I love boundaries. Now, and like Carleeka said, it has been a process.
Yeah.
That it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a while, and sometimes you do feel guilt. It's not the best feeling sometimes. Sometimes you are villainized for your boundaries. But as long as you know that your boundaries are well for you, they're positive for you and your partner, keep them.
Yeah.
Your boundaries are your best friend. And sometimes, and actually most of the time, they save you a lot of headaches.
Of course. That's good. I like the example you gave too when I was talking about the shared boundaries. You use tone. And you're right. How I'm expressing what I'm needing or desiring affects the person that I'm in relationship with too. So I like the way that you use that.
I mean, but gee, sometimes your tone can be right. Okay.
It can.
And when people have a defensive spirit, or they're listening with a defensive or offensive ear, you can say the thing, in the most loving way, and they still hear it
how they want
to hear it. Different way.
Perception.
Yeah. And hopefully, I think that's part of it, especially in your relationship with those you're in closest proximity to. Hopefully they're growing too, right? It is not just you growing and understanding yourself. You used the word earlier, Carleeka, self-awareness. Hopefully they're doing it as well, because it's unfair if it's only you growing and the other person gets to stay who they are, right?
But guess what? If they choose not to,
what you gonna do?
You keep moving forward.
Come on with the truth.
Gotcha.
Come on with the truth. My cousin Sharon, she says hello.
Hey, cuz.
Yeah. Hey, this is a guy here, Jason Jinx. I met him a few days ago. I pride myself in networking, so I connected with him. He heard, he saw what I posted about it. He's tuning in. He's saying hello as well.
Appreciate you, Jason. Did y'all share it out though? Because you don't want to hold all this goodness just to yourself.
Man,
go ahead and hit the share button.
If he didn't, he is right. Share. Nisha said hello. Dr. Jenna said she's definitely understand. I forgot what we were specifically talking about, and she also was amplifying her approval or her like for your title, Hell to Harvest. She says a powerful statement. Denisha also said that part. Know who you are. You are both. Oh, this one we was talking about, rich and good looking. Yeah, got some rich and good looking women on here for sure. And Jason says always on time. So we got some more comments. We're gonna go to commercial break, and after the commercial break, we're gonna come back, get to some more of the comments, and continue the discussion. If y'all okay with that.
And if we say no.
The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The black woman. The respected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman.
All right, welcome back to the Floor is Yours podcast, where we're talking about an upcoming book titled "We Are Not Strong, We Are Resilient." That'll do. Okay. So it's a powerful book, and I've been reading. I read your bios, and kind of related to what you guys were going to be talking about in your. Oh, we got our man Gregory back on here. How about that? But in the commercial that we just showed, I've highlighted a few points that are ongoing challenges, have been challenges, and are ongoing challenges, and they're real time. So one of them was the attack on DEI, the ongoing attack on DEI. The other one was over this past year. Look again. Over this past year.
Gregory up here playing peekaboo.
Like he's bored. I'm gonna let him talk. I think that's what's wrong with him. But over this past year, over 350,000 Black women have lost their jobs, and that's a direct reflection of the attack on DEI and the posture that and the policy that the current administration has taken. And the other one is very, very troubling. I know people that have dealt with this, but it talked about the mortality rate amongst Black women during childbirth. And so we're going to take a minute and talk about those. But since my man Gregory is here, we're going to, I think his equipment is functioning properly now. So Gregory, where are you on the conversation? Let you jump in. We just showed the promo. And again, we were talking about how over 350,000 Black women have lost their jobs today. And what we said, we're going to do our part to help. So go ahead and jump in on the conversation, please.
Yeah. 1,000 comments, 1,000 thoughts have been running through my mind since we started this conversation. The title of the book, Black Women Are Not Strong, They Are Resilient. When you were creating this book, is this to help? Are you encouraging Black women to embrace resilience or to resist it?
Good question.
Well, embrace it. It's nothing. I don't think it's anything to run away from, but it's not something that it's something that's developed, right? Like our faith. Our faith is developed through challenges and different things. And so I do believe as we continue to overcome things that, we don't know when and where the challenge may pop up at. we can build resiliency, and how do we do that without always feeling and believing the narrative that I always have to be strong. I always have to have my poker face on or my game face on in the workplace with my family. But resiliency, to me, resiliency is a testimony.
I can see that. And I think what Gregory is getting to, and correct me, Gregory, if I'm wrong, I've heard people talk about they detest the idea that you have to be resilient. Like, why can't people around you do what they're supposed to do? So I don't know. Is that what you were getting at, Gregory?
Yeah, a part of that. Yeah, definitely. So because when we say Black women are strong, they're resilient, it could allude to the thinking that strength is the negative and resilience is the positive. And I think it's okay to be both. But as we have this discussion, here's a question I want both of you two to chime in on. The title is Black Women. Being a woman is hard because you're a mother, you're an employee. You know, when you're out in the world, being just female is difficult and hard. What are some of the nuances that makes being a Black female harder than being any other ethnicity?
But who's Black? Am I Black? Let me stop. So being a Black woman, just a lot of the perception, right? That people think, one, all of us are the same. And that's not true. And then thinking that you have to work harder, right? Aspects of having to work harder to get the promotion, even when you're qualified in different things, and just showing up in spaces. But even not just with counterparts, I've experienced it. Can I be real honest? I've experienced more of the rejection with other Black women, unfortunately. Sometimes finding your place, even seemingly within your own community, that can even be a challenge. Growing up, I was called an Oreo.
Really?
Yes, really.
Wow.
I was trying to show my.
I can't see that with you. No, I would never thought that with it.
And I think, and I think they only base it upon grades, right? So they would say things like, "Oh, her and her sister are Oreos," and I'm like, "Cause we study and make honor roll."
Man, the bar has been set, right?
Well, they call it, I've never heard the term Oreo, but I was told I talk to whites, or I'm trying to be white because of the way I dress and carry myself. So Oreo is a new term for me, but that's
yeah, they was like, you're Black on the outside and white, and I'm like, what? Yeah. I was a novice to it, but those are some of the challenges even within your own community, sometimes within your own families, and then even when we branch out to the churches and workplaces, right? Just being stereotyped because of the color of your skin.
So what about what we just showed in the video, the one about over 350,000 Black women losing their jobs? Like, how does that hit home for y'all? I mean, are you conscious or aware enough of that to where it's in your mind, or are you okay because you're employed?
No, I was aware of it, and it's very unfortunate. And you knowing, but then when things hit closer to home, when it's people sometimes that you actually know, and then when you give that, welcome back, Gregory.
He's hopping in and out.
Gregory is like, catch me if you can.
We're gonna send him to the comments next time.
You're like, peekaboo, y'all see me?
I don't know what the issue is. Listen, I am practicing my resilience tonight. This is the book in practice right here, right now.
But ladies, that has to be challenging. Listen, though, even if you have a job, like that still has to be challenging. Like any day, anything can happen. You can be out of, like, they're literally attacking these DEI programs that gave us, some equity, right? So we can get a seat at the table. And now here it is literally under attack. So just thinking like that has to be somewhat stressful.
It is. It can be, and it could be you, or it could be anyone you know. So you're always on guard, literally. You're making sure you have backup. You're trying to see, even if it's someone you don't know directly, okay, what can I do for that person? What resources are there that you can send to them? What group can you put them in? It's always in the back of your head, okay, what else can I do? But what if this happens to someone I know directly?
Yeah.
How are they going to take it mentally? How is it going to affect their household?
Mm-hmm.
That's that community mindset. Gregory, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, you know, I think as a human being in life, we all have to have a certain level of resilience. I do also believe that for Black women, they have to have an extraordinary level of resilience. So my question would be, can you be a Black woman and not have an extraordinary of resilience in order to become successful or to make something of yourself?
Okay, he popped out. I'm going to try to answer the question that he was going for. I assume he's going for.
Okay. Go ahead, Tina.
I'm practicing my male Black man resilience here.
You're doing a good job.
Awesome. But
Thank you.
No, in my personal opinion, I don't think that you can, just because in so many aspects of our life, we have to be resilient. If we're not being judged by our jobs or our family members, or like Carleeka said, our church, or just people that we're around, it's something. It's whether it is life in general, like going to the hospital. That's one of the topics I saw roll across on the commercial. You go into the hospital as a Black woman, you're being judged as soon as you walk through the door.
Mm-hmm.
If you say that you're in pain, or if you're angry about something because they're treating you a certain kind of way, you're seen as aggressive. As to our counterparts, they're trying to help with no problem. So whether we want to admit it or not, all Black women have to be resilient in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Would you agree with that, Carleeka?
Yes, and I feel like you have to find it, right? You have to find what resiliency looks like for you, right? Because we may not all experience the exact same identical scenarios of whether it's trauma, whether it is a challenge, or whatever, a test, whatever name you want to call it. But we all have that point of finding that grit within us to keep pushing, right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that I'm walking around thinking I'm better than someone. I'm not walking around putting someone else down. I'm not looking at the next generation like, well, all my life I had to fight, and all my life I did not have to fight. Okay. Like, can I just be real? Yes, there have been times in the medical field that I've had to advocate for myself. Okay. Like when we think of the childbirth mortality rate that is still going on after all of these years, I could have been one of those moms, right? I had that experience where the nurse was gonna send me back home without even telling the doctor that I'm bleeding, right? Come to find out, if I did not advocate and I waited to see, she just tossed the glove like it was nothing. And I was like, oh, well, let me see if she's gonna say something to the doctor. Like, I'm tested. She didn't say anything. She was like, oh, she's not dilated. And I was like, yeah, but what about that glove with all that blood on it? And he's like, He looking at her, I'm looking at them. I ended up having to be induced, but my baby boy, the umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck twice. He came out blue. So just think, if I would have been like, oh, let me go home and just rest. Let me just be passive about it, right? Resiliency is saying, let me speak up. Let me ask for help. It's not me being haughty, because a lot of times we want to put humble and haughty and, oh, but you're not being humble. Well, are you going to be humble if you see a child or someone getting ready to get hit by a car? You're going to be passive. You're going to be like, gee, come back. No, you're going to go with a little more force. So I think women have to find their resiliency.
Yeah.
In your path of life, because all of us don't have the same story, right?
Yeah. True. That's good. Jason, he also said faith in therapy is a must. And
absolutely.
I think probably agree with that. But he said, I asked folks, do you really want help, or you just want some attention? And you earlier talked about asking that question, right? But is attention necessarily a bad thing? or is it why do you want the attention? Because I believe that some people want to stay in that negative space because they like the attention. It's not just like the squeaky wheel gets the attention, but I think you were talking about those people who want the attention just to soothe whatever it is that they're dealing with.
Well, Gerard, some people have normalized dysfunction, so healed looks like dysfunction, right? I said some people have just normalized dysfunction. So someone who's healed or a healed individual looks like dysfunction in them, right?
Like them crazy people for being healed.
Yeah, like, why would you change your mindset?
Yeah.
Like why do you want to be more emotionally intelligent, right? So it's different things. And some people, they're not ready for that transformation that progressively takes place, right? Is you don't wake up and be like, you know what? Today I'm gonna be resilient.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. You find the path, you got to address the patterns and different things. And I think internally, when we become more honest with ourselves, even to the attention, everyone should get some type of words of affirmation, right? But then we have to analyze motives. What's your motive for always talking about this? Is it for sympathy on purpose? Because I do believe some people, they play the victim role all the time. So then when you don't feed into it, and then we have to recognize spirits that people operate in as women and men of faith. When you recognize a spirit that someone's operating in, then you're not dealing, per se with them. You got to just recognize the spirit.
Come on. I like that. Misha, appreciate the comment. We'll get her back on here soon. But she said, because the truth is, strong things don't break, but being resilient is being strengthened through the process to move forward in spite of. She's saying that's just her thought. So I can agree with what she's saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Donisha said, facts, you get more hate sometimes for your same race. I'm not going to dumb myself down to make anyone else feel better or accept me.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Anybody want to respond to that one?
That's good.
Yeah.
I completely agree with her. There is, I apologize if I say this wrong, but never dull your shine to make anyone else comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just your presence alone sometimes can irritate people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that you have to recognize. And I myself went through it where I can't recognize certain people. You think everyone is your friend. You go through that phase where you think everyone is your friend, everyone is there for you, but your presence, you will give them your last, but they won't do the same. But your presence alone just irritates them, and you don't see it at that moment. But just because you could have had a bad experience, but just because you haven't gave up, or you're resilient, it irritates them because you're not down, you're not miserable, you're not crying, you're not holding on to whatever experience you've had. Mm-hmm. That alone could just irritate people. So don't give up that process. Don't feed into that negativity. That's the word I'm looking for. The negativity. Don't feed into.
And can I add that when we even speak of resiliency, we're not talking about doing the same thing, expecting different results. I just felt like I need to throw that in there because some people think, well, I'm resilient, but you're doing the same dumb thing to get the same ignorant, dumb action and result. And now you're like, but I'm resilient. No, the Bible talks about fools. Okay. Don't come for me, because the Bible. The Bible talks about being a fool, right?
Yeah.
About foolish things and different things. So when we think of resiliency, it's not saying, resiliency is saying I can pivot if I need to pivot. I need to keep evolving. That's resiliency as well. Let me keep evolving. Let me keep being made and molded and shifting when I need to. Because for me to stay stuck in the same space doing the same thing, thinking that I'm going to get something, that there's going to be a change, that's crazy.
Yeah. How am I gonna word this? Isn't it important to have a level of discernment as well? Because you don't want to be seen as someone that boats from every bit of conflict or challenge. shouldn't you have a level of discernment to know when, you know what, this other person is growing in the process as well too. So let me give them a level of grace that's appropriate for that situation. Or do you say like, you know what, that's not my problem. Deal with that and then come back and see me.
I've been learning more of some things is not a me problem, right?
Okay.
Because you can't make someone, y'all, I'm on TikTok, so I'm trying to do this little puzzle they got. So you can't make someone heal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, check mark. You can't make someone heal. You can't make someone go, and we're talking about adults. You can't make an adult go to therapy. You can't make them address their own internal issues, right? However, I do believe discernment is very important, because then with discernment, then you're able to, you know what to pray for. And when we're praying, we're not praying situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then you know, okay, what spirit is that person operated in? Because then someone may be asking you, Gerard, like, okay, well, how much grace do you give someone, right? How many years of grace am I supposed to, right? So I think because everyone's situation be different, you need to pray about it and be in a place where you can actually hear God speak to you on what to do. The Holy Spirit is there to lead and guide. And so a lot of times, if we be real, we be in our own feelings, right?
Yeah.
So we don't be acting in faith. We act out of feelings, emotions, and we let the emotions lead versus faith leading in the aspect of, okay, God, what is it that you want me to do at this point, at this time, in this, at this moment? And so I do think it's very important.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And, I think it's also important to understand that grace is not just an excuse or room for everybody just to do what they want to do. Grace is accountability as well.
Now, don't you start doing a Gregory, okay?
Yeah, you're back, Tina. We got you. I don't know what's going on, but grace is not just an excuse to do let people get away with whatever they're getting away with.
But Gerard, that's why I said earlier, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And I think sometimes when we really start applying the word to every area of our life and we're not picking and choosing.
Come on now. Yeah.
Right? Then when we say the battle is the Lord's, like we sing all these real cute songs and stuff, but then we want to take matters into our own hands, or because something, and God gives, and I'm with you with grace, right? Because someone gave us grace, right? The same way with forgiveness and different things. And like you said, that's not a pass to do whatever you want, how you want to do it, all of these things. But understand, you reap what you sow.
Yeah, come on now. That's the other part of it. I like when you say apply all of it. But it says in that Titus, it says, for the grace of God is the period that offers salvation to all men. It says it teaches us to say no to ungodliness. And I think that's the accountability that people overlook that should be.
And I think when we're going through things like from hail to harvest, my main thing is to honor God.
I love that.
Right? So I do wholeheartedly, like the Bible says, it's better to obey than to sacrifice. There were some really particular and specific instructions that I had, even in the midst of feeling like I was going through hell. Understand, I would not be still reaping the harvest if I didn't obey.
Yeah.
So though my feelings might have been hurt, some things were not getting better, some things seemed like they was getting worse in the midst of me saying, okay, yes, God, I obey, right? But literally, it was specific instructions that I had to obey. So I don't know what the sacrifice would have been if I didn't obey. So a lot of times, even when we're going through whatever you may be facing, God is giving you instructions to obey, and your first job is to honor him. And so that's what I had to lock in and focus on. God, I'm going to obey you. I don't care what else is going on around me. I don't care what people saying, people doing. I'm going to keep my eyes on you, and I'm going to continuously obey. Did I mess up sometimes? Absolutely. Jesus, forgive me, Lord. Forgive me. But I made a vow to him And I think when we go back to that, keeping him first and knowing that even in the midst of hell or whatever you facing, you gotta get your obedience game up.
I love it. I love it. Tamika said obedience is always the best option.
Amen, Pastor.
Yeah, and Donisha said sometimes being resilient in the eyes of others show you as weak. And I think that's when you got to know when to separate, right, from those kind of people, because they'll take your kindness for weakness and see that you're a God-fearing person and think that they can walk all over you. So
yeah, but don't play with me, because understand I ain't never showing up by myself. We ain't never scared.
Hey, I'm gonna get you, then I ask for forgiveness later. I didn't say that out loud, did I?
I think you went out. I think you came back.
Yeah. So this is a fun conversation, and we can go forever and ever and ever. But we're gonna let you both take a moment to again talk about your chapter in the book and any personal words of inspiration that you want to offer the audience before we get up off of here. So, who wants to go first? Tina? I asked and then I told her.
Yeah.
I'm just like, Tina was like, okay.
Who want to go, Tina?
All right. Well, everyone, get your copy if you haven't already. We're launching on the 16th. We're coming live. All the ladies are going to be on, and we're going to tell about our stories and just have a welcome in for the launch on the 17th. And like all the other ladies, we just want to not only share our stories, but also give words of encouragement and let you know that no matter what you're going through, you're not going through it by yourself. We're all going through something, but if we can rely on each other in one way, shape, or form, we can get through anything. And of course, always put God first. And I think that's it.
That's good. That's good. Appreciate the words. And Miss Carleeka, what about you, ma'am?
Look, buy the book. I'm just saying, because it's so, I know it's filled with so many stories, and my story may not resonate with you, but someone else's may resonate with you. And then don't stop there. Like, reach out, connect, and different things. And if you need a new circle, like, quit being scared to get a new circle and different things, and quit being scared to shift, quit being scared to speak up and stand up, even for yourself. Resiliency is not saying that I have faith and I don't do any work. Is saying, you know what, I'm going to put my faith to work, and I'm going to do and take the necessary steps that I need to take so that I can be transformed from the inside out. So from hail to harvest, I know we're in the holiday season, and as joyful as it may be, there's someone out there who's not feeling like they have any peace and they have no joy. Look, like I said, you can't go buy that at Louis V, and you can't go buy that at Walmart or wherever you shop at. This is an ongoing process, but I can assure you, like 10 toes down, if you keep going, you will see the harvest, right? We all have dry seasons, winter seasons, all of the different things, but it's about saying, you know what? I know that God is bigger than my circumstance. I know he's bigger than that situation. And when you really, truly give it all to him and say, you know what? Hands up. I surrender everything to you, and you cast it down. I'm a testimony. Tina's a testimony. Gerod, and I'm sure those who are listening, where you say, I don't know how I had that type of peace in that particular situation. I don't know how. Like, you look at some things that you already went through, and you're like, man, I can't believe only just a few years ago that I was in that place. But it was your resiliency in God, not in your own strength, but in God, to say, I'm going to keep going. And so we want to just encourage you. And that book is a lifetime thing, right? You're not going to read it one time. You can read it multiple times. And then don't be stingy, right? Like, if you haven't shared this live, you stingy. If you didn't, not going to buy the book for you and your bestie, what's wrong, right? Buy it for someone else so that they can be blessed as well, because we don't know. A lot of people are going through so many things that are unspoken of. The person that's sitting right in the cubicle at work next to you is going through turmoil in their mind, and they didn't say anything. So be kind to people, show love to people, And then, of course, December 17th, buy the book, register and reserve for your virtual seat for the live book launch. And there's the information at the bottom of the screen. But you want to be in the room, okay? Because I know that you're going to be blessed, and you and your mama and your aunties and, you know, your brother, whoever, your daughters, they're going to be blessed by this book. We're resilient.
Is this a woman's only event, or?
I mean, aren't you speaking?
So you
so invite, it's for anyone. Bring your family, bring your sons, your daughters, mom and them, like
yeah. Okay. You're gonna be getting smart with people.
You see how people want to ask certain questions on live, and you already know.
I try to stay out of it, but my face tell on me.
Yeah. Listen. So www.energizeher.us. Go there and register for this spirited event. This is gonna be good. These are my sisters from another mister. I appreciate y'all for joining us. My takeaway is for our male counterparts. We need y'all to show up. You know, I'll say this, and not to get too political, but when Kamala Harris ran, regardless of your politics, you know, what your beliefs are, the way that they attacked her was nasty. And I'm talking about people that I've shared the screen with, people that I broke bread with. My own people talked so bad to her and uplifted this blessing on the other side that's strategically dismantling our history, you know, programs that help us and our parents and grandparents. You know, that Medicare is under attack. They went out to Social Security. For veterans, they went out to the VA healthcare system. But for whatever reason, they felt it in their hearts that they needed to attack her. And, you know, it just goes back to what Brother Malcolm said years ago, that the most disrespected person in America is the Black woman. The most neglected person in America is the Black woman, right? And we just want to do what we can to change that trajectory, you know, and part of that is calling people out. Part of that is being resilient. But the other part, too, is using your discernment to know when, you know what, throw your hands up and lead them people where they are. They say don't cast your pearls to dogs, right? So to swine, yeah. So it's
the dogs. Who let the dogs out?
There's some dogs too. But thank you, Tamika, for putting this together. She's saying thank you all too. So secure your virtual seat at www.energizer.us and support the amazing authors who are answering the call for women across the globe. And we're going to have some more people to come on and talk about their parts. But before we go, let people know how to reach out to you. Who want to go first? Carleeka?
Sure. Yes, sir.
He's in a roll.
Anyhow, focus, okay? You all can reach out to me. The name on the screen, Carleeka Basnight-Menendez, is the same across all social media.
Man, nobody gonna remember all them letters. Y'all better screenshot the screen right now so you can go and search.
Gerod, it is not that many people out there with my name, okay?
You're right. I'm talking about remembering the letters to spell it. I ain't talking about when they see you.
Jesus. I gotta steer the discernment right now. You trying to play with me?
I'm not playing on your top, as they say. Tina, how can they get out and reach out to you?
You can find me on all social media platforms at Beauty and Me with Tina, DM, all of that, Facebook, Twitter, all that. I'm on there.
Yeah, I just put you on the big screen so they can see at the bottom there. It said Tina hosts, self-care advocate for busy moms. So yeah, I forgot you said you had that show too. So this was good. And since Gregory couldn't get it together, and since Carleeka is not a vet, we're gonna let her. I mean, she is a vet and not new to this. We're gonna let her close us out.
What you want me to pray? What you want me to do, Gerard?
Well, you know how we do, like, share.
All right, you all. So look, thank you for joining and tuning in to the Floor is Yours podcast. It is an amazing platform. If you have a story that you want to share, Gerard, his team, they're always looking to network. If you have not shared this out, go ahead and share it out with your communities. Share it in your email, copy the link, send it to someone in your phone. Like, nevertheless, December 17th, the book is launching and dropping. And look, you still have a little while. okay, to go ahead and pre-order so that your name can be in the book as well as a supporter. That's all we're asking. Support, support, support. And look, connect. Yes, Tamika Chapman. Amen. Didn't I just say that? Connect with the Floor is Yours podcast. But she's gonna get me too. Y'all, I'm gonna get in so much trouble. But this has been amazing. And to the women out there and the men, right? We're building communities, we're building families of resiliency, and we're seeing a lack of it in generations now where they're not able to handle the challenges that they may be facing. And so this is where we're saying we're stepping up, we're going to therapy, we're doing the things that we need to do so we can break the patterns, break the generational curses in our bloodlines, in our communities, to show someone else that, you know what, you can make it, you can go through it. And so don't give up, don't give in. God is never going to leave you nor forsake you, but you have a community. So if you need help or anything, you can reach out to any of us. And if we don't have a resource, guess what? We know someone with a resource. So you, like Tina said earlier, you don't have to sit in silence. You don't have to feel like you're alone on the journey. You don't have to be stuck, because stuck causes you to be sick, but you can be a resilient man or woman, and we're building resilient communities and families. So Gerard, we want to say thank you as you're reading. Pay attention. We want to say thank you again for allowing us to join you on tonight. Gregory, we love you, my brother. You showed up and showed out tonight.
Yes, thank you.
You know what to do with you.
I got a feeling they showed out, wasn't it? In the podcast?
Oh God. But Gerard, we say thank you for all the amazing work that you're doing, and just having this space that people can, we can come up here and cut up with you.
Yeah, for sure. Call me out and all that. Good old. And thank the audience for the comments, for tuning in, for sharing in the conversation. We appreciate you. So other than that, we'll see y'all next time.
Amen. The floor is yours.
Need another, this one here really do it for you.
Baby, the floor is yours. Yeah, baby, I mean it. Baby, come down to the floor is yours. Let me show you how to the floor is yours. The floor is yours. The floor is yours. The floor is yours. The floor is yours.
Now it's my turn to tell y'all about my big bro Gerod and the podcast crew.
You all in some form or fashion. So
yeah.
Good night.
And just one more thing before we get off here. Our sister from another mister too out there on the East Coast, Ivory, the conscious creator, she's a member too. She's going through some challenges, and a lot of people know that she's dealt with cancer, went into remission and has returned, but she's dealing with that right now. Went through a couple surgeries, so we want to make sure that we lift her up in prayer, keep her in your thoughts and prayers, and wish for a speedy recovery for her. Love you, Ivory.
Definitely will do.
Yeah.
She's so sweet, but I will definitely be praying for her with her bubbly personality.
For sure. All right, y'all. Next time.